Hello everyone, Viva la Evolution. It's Mike Levin, August 5th, Tuesday morning, 2014, and out walking the dog, about 6:30 a.m. And it's going to be a few words about Vim again this morning. Well, it's a good lesson in SEO as well. My site will mostly be about SEO and the evolution of that field into something much better than SEO that I look forward to being a part of, that's based on genuine reputation and the steps you take to package those things that are responsible for your reputation into an easy to share payload for I don't even want to say online or digital or the internet or any of that stuff. It's just the way things are becoming. The digital is being dropped from marketing, and the online from communication. It's just marketing and communication. And so Vim, why Vim? Well, I have to develop my reputation, and SEOs are kind of like a very poor signal to noise ratio. A lot of echo chamber stuff and speculation and deliberating over nuanced details that barely matter and are going to change by next week anyway. So I'm going to try and form my reputation around the tools of the short stack that I use every day, in a combination of advocating them and teaching people how to use them. And so tools like Vim, there's already a great following, but those people just, their fingers fly over the keyboard, and they're at that point that's like in the movies where you see magical things happen on the screen as people tap away, and you know, all the pundits in the audience who know computers say, it's not really like that. Well, I'm here to tell you, in a lot of ways it is. People who have mastered Vim and even Unix command line are kind of like wizards, telepathically controlling text on their screen. And you can reach that point, and people would say, well, why? And to answer that, it's partly because when you're in tech, almost everything somehow or other eventually goes back to text files. Like, for example, all Linux is one, binary piece that's very much tied to the piece of hardware you're on, called the kernel, enough to get, that spark of life, the Frankenstein moment of throwing the switch and, it's alive. And everything following that is following instructions in text files. And even other compiled software is compiled from code that was in text files. Mastering text files is mastering tech. And Vim is a great way to do it. Other videos will cover why, but it's, the desire to take up Vim is the other set of people out there who have been exposed to it some way or another and give it a try, kick the tires, and then promptly run for the hills screaming. There's some aha moments, some suspended disbelief, some rewiring of connections in your head that have to occur to even give it a chance. And the rewards are worth it, but the reasons mostly come from its heritage. And the reasons for those strange aspects of Vim, and VI originally, but now Vim, the improved version, are valid. Being efficient in a resource-limited environment is like training at the top of a mountain where the air is thin to run, and then coming down to where the air is rich and you can run further and perform better. That's analogous to mastering Vim. And there's a few key things you need to know in that moment you fire up the editor. And you just got to be told these. There's a lot of initiation and indoctrination into Vim, and that is, there are modes. You can't just start typing. There's command mode, which you're in the moment you load the program, waiting to hear things from you, like D for delete, or X for delete the one character beneath my cursor, or Y for yank, or C for copy, P for paste, all the things you might think you need to do in a text editor. And then there is one of those commands that puts you into another mode, and that's I for insert. But it's not merely an insert mode. If you wanted to insert 10 copies of a word, like hello world, you would type 10, because you're about to do this thing 10 times. I for insert, you type hello world, space, and then you hit escape key to get out of insert mode, and bam, you have 10 hello worlds. So insert mode is just another verb that can have a multiplier put in front of it. So the vocabulary for Vim commands is how many times you want to do a thing, what thing you want to do, and what the subject of the verb is going to be. So it's 10 times insert hello world. And if you wanted to repeat that, you just hit the period on the keyboard, and then you get 10 more hello worlds. And then if you just keep hitting period, you get that over and over. And that's two of the modes. Command mode, where the keyboard is just waiting for instructions, but it's not free typing on the screen. Insert mode, where you can freely type on the screen. And then the third mode is what you get when you hit the colon key, or the shift semicolon, of course. And that's called EX mode, and it's where you can build up these vocabulary of commands on a line, looking at them before you hit enter to have them executed. So you can think things through, you can take your time and arrange the command. And why does that exist? It exists because there's a program that predates Vim and predates VI that's called EX, and that's why it's called EX mode. And before that, there was just the ED program for edit, and they were single line editors. So it exists now today still for more reasons than historic. It allows you to compose your thoughts for a series of commands that you would never be able to think through and link up by just hitting it in normal command mode. And so, for example, quitting out of Vim, there's two ways, as there almost always is, at least two ways to do things in Vim. The first is to hit ZZ, and that's the command mode for quitting. ZZ just exits you out of the program instantly. And then if you wanted to do it with EX mode, it's colon Q, Q for quit. Now, why they used Q in EX mode originally and then switched it to ZZ for command mode, I'm not exactly sure. There's a few things like that you got to resolve over time. There's not 100% consistency, but usually it's because of the history of the program. They already used Q for something else, so they couldn't make conflicting commands. And every time you learn a single character, what it means in command mode, you can start to make new sentences that you never specifically learned before. For example, G is go to. It's the navigational key. So, as is the case many times with Vim, doing a command twice does the most common thing you need to do with that command. So hitting GG navigates you to the very top beginning character of your text file. It's go to top. And then Shift G does the other most common thing, So Shift-G drops you down to the bottom of the screen of your text file. And let's see, what else? O is going into insert mode, but inserting a line, a new line beneath your cursor. So instead of just going into insert mode in the middle of a text file, you go into insert mode and you get a new line to start typing on beneath your cursor. Now say you wanted it above your cursor, that's Shift-O. The other most common thing you need to do. It goes above it. And then all this stuff gets multipliers. So if you needed 10 lines inserted beneath your cursor, 10-O. And then start typing, hit escape, and if you hit period again, you would get 10 lines again and the same thing that you typed. And so there you have, all that, sentence building vocabulary. If you wanted to delete from where your cursor is to the end of the file, you would hit D for delete. Now if you hit DD, it would just delete that line, but if you hit D for delete and then Shift G for go to end of document, you delete everything from where your cursor is to the end of the document. And in this way you build up phrases to edit text files in very much the same way as you just think phrases in your spoken language. And this is where a lot of the power of Vim arises from, and why it fills a role that can be both replacing your integrated development environment like Xcode or Visual Studio or Eclipse. It really is that powerful. You can have all those IDE features put into Vim through extensions and modules and stuff, and even a fair amount you can do without modification, because you can pipe things in and out of any Unix command line. So you could pipe the code you're looking at directly into an interpreter without any customization of Vim. And likewise, you can take the output of any external program and bring it into Vim to insert dates or to use external formatting commands, all kinds of crazy stuff. But Vim is not only a great replacement for IDEs that'll last you for the rest of your life, it's also a great replacement for Nano and Pico. Now people would say, oh, I already use Nano and Pico, they're relatively user-friendly, that's all I need. Well, if for the rest of your tech career all you have is just really lightweight text editing tasks, then that's fine. Don't make the deep investment in mastering Vim. But if you live in text files, and when I say that, if you live in code, if you live in the written word, anything other than maybe just word processing, where you'll probably be better off with Google Docs or Word. But if it's text files for programming and code, then it probably is worth the investment. And so there you have it. I've rambled on long enough. I'll be building my website up around these really timeless, unique and worth learning tools that are very, very tangentially related to SEO, but it's to make a point about SEO. You need unique content, best in the world stuff, or idiosyncratically different than everyone else, and focusing on tools like Python, Vim, and Git is most certainly idiosyncratically different in this age of Node.js and the yesteryear age of PHP. Nobody understands what an awesome short development stack some of these slightly off the beaten track tools really become. So thanks for joining me, and don't forget to share the video, and please subscribe.